Bitcoin's in some trouble, but it's not really time to worry just yet. Let's talk about it. So, we all know that Bitcoin did have this nice little rally a few weeks ago, and over the last couple weeks, we've really just been going sideways here. Not the best, of course, but it's okay for a little bit of consolidation if you think we're going to move up a little bit higher. At this point in time, we're so close to the major levels of resistance. If I just back up here a little bit more, I'm okay with not buying anything at these levels, just trying to scale out the last little bit of swing trades that I've been able to do over here and not even touch my long-term positions, even though we might come back down a little bit more. I'm still not going to sell anything, okay? Now, we have had this golden cross over the past few days. You guys can see it really led to just maybe one good day of pumping up here. Other than that, we've continued to go sideways here, and that's not a bad thing, especially because we are dealing with some more worrying signs that, hey, trends are catching up and we have to start watching out for some of these death crosses here. We do know that Bitcoin, unfortunately, on the 4-hour chart, that's where we really like to see some stuff. Normally, when we start breaking down below the 20 and the 50 moving averages on the 4-hour chart, we start to see a little bit more sideways action, a little bit more caution here as far as investors are concerned. We saw the first worrying sign over here back in January. We fortunately did not break down below the 50. That would have been pretty bad. And you can see we managed to continue the trend. Now we've broken down below the 50, and it's been much harder for us to actually make these new highs here and continue pushing up towards the target price of around $25,000. Now, the stock market's definitely not having a great week this week. It's been kind of going more sideways with a few tech stocks continuing to fall, like Amazon, which we've talked about here, got those puts on the table. But as far as I see right now, as long as we can stay above the 200 here, I think it'd be okay to continue holding on to Bitcoin. The moment we break down below this, I do see us coming back down a little bit more, probably down to the $20,000, $21,000 level. And while that's not going to be a complete crash, so to speak, I would suspect that altcoins are definitely going to be having a rough time during that, especially as, even though we had that golden cross, which we just talked about, we are going to be dealing with this death cross here on the weekly. And the last death cross we had over here did not really bode anything well, even though this was caused by FTX. And the previous death cross before that on the weekly charts definitely did not give us anything good, right? So at this point, I really don't feel a need to buy unless you guys are doing maybe a 1 to 2 day swing trade and you guys are doing a little bit more of a, maybe some scalping or day trading going on. I'm really just sitting on my hands at this point as far as the crypto market's concerned. You guys know that I have this Gann box set up, but this is 3 multiple Gann boxes. This is the daily version of it, but we can always go to the weekly chart as well. This is really, really cluttered, so guys aren't going to really know what I'm talking about completely. But basically, you see this really thick green line right there? Nope. That's something we've been unable to break out above. Let me go back to the daily chart. If you guys want to get more optimistic as far as Bitcoin's concerned, I would say hope that over the next few days, we could just break above and close above 23,600. That's a little bit above each of these levels over the next few days. So about 23,600 is going to be a good level for you guys to get a little bit more bullish. To me, that would signify that we're actually about to make a larger push up to at least 25,000. Now, again, if you're buying a breakout here, that's going to be about a 5% move up. Altcoins are really where you want to be in if you want to see such a large move and you want to get more than just 5% back. Speaking of altcoins, Ethereum is also having a pretty fun time at this moment because we do know this actually had another breakout, a shorter breakout, not the same type of breakout that we saw when it came to Bitcoin with the 14-month downtrend breakout. But you can see we're currently facing some resistance just around 1680. We've been able to get above it a couple of times, but just have some issues closing above it. But again, Ethereum's main goal for this week is just to break out above the 50-week moving averager. If we're able to do that, we could actually have a pretty solid move up to at least $2,000. And that's where I'd sell off a lot of my Ethereum because I know after that we're probably coming back down eventually because we're not in a bull market just yet. I know what's his name just said we were in a bull market, Jim Cramer. That leads me to believe that this rally is almost over here. And just like with Bitcoin here, again, we have this this golden cross, that can actually give us another big pump here. I would say, though, based on a lot of the stuff I've been looking at, let me go over here to the channels. We don't need the super trend like that. We're still hitting that level of resistance, and we're just having some issues with it. I'm not really going to panic about Ethereum until we break down below this trend line. Until then, we're just in a little bit of a rising wedge. Nothing too crazy. Hopefully we can continue to break out. If we do break down, though, we're probably just going to be heading back down here to 1500, which isn't a total disaster. But it's really when we start breaking down below this support level provided by this level right here, that's where things can get nasty, and we can start heading back down here to 1355. that's where, like, if you bought right here for some reason, not, in the middle of a trend, you'd be down like 16, 17%. So this is that part where they got to be very, very careful, because we are going to calm down a little bit over the next few weeks. And if we go back over here, you'll see that as far as Bitcoin's concerned, let me pull this up for you guys. We're starting to get back into squeeze, which means the Bollinger Bands are starting to come down a little bit more, which means we're going to have a big move somewhere over the next few days, probably, or once the squeeze starts to release. I should say that. I can't give a definite time frame off of this. But we are starting to squeeze, which means after the squeeze is concluded and we start to release, you can see squeeze release, green check mark, so to speak. Boom. Squeeze release, big move down. So we do know we're going to have a pretty big move, I would say, coming up, but we're getting ready for it by squeezing, and you're seeing price action kind of steady off here, which is pretty nice. That way you guys can start to do a little bit more technical analysis and see where you want to place your bets, so to speak, okay? There are some things moving down a little bit more aggressively here, like SHIB, but that's basically just because it had a really good run, and like everything else, and not like everything else, it actually continued to run up here, which is very, very nice. Go over here to the weekly chart and manage to break up above the 50-week moving average, and it's using it for support right now. You got Sand here again, broke out above a moving average, tried to go a little bit higher, and it's definitely coming back down a little bit more today, but it's been trying to break out a little bit more. Same with Dogecoin Mars, things of that nature. If it's been going up a lot more than everything else, it's typically been having a really rough few days. So don't worry about them too much, but you can see people are starting to take some money off the table, and that is okay. GTC right here coming down a little bit harder. Again, it just kept on climbing. If you guys were in something that really ran up and it didn't really stop, you're going to notice that it comes down a little bit more aggressively, as Bitcoin's only down about 1.5% today, okay? But okay, everybody, I'll see you guys later on tonight, and just relax. Don't be afraid to sell some off. We're definitely making a ceiling for ourselves, and that's going to be the issue going forward.